Alright guys, so it's 3 a.m. and we're gonna start reacting some videos. We're just gonna watch about 3 videos. Alright, let's get to it. And like and subscribe. Let's get to it. House sitting horror story. Let's get to it, guys.
A couple weeks ago, my dad came home and pitched me a small job offer. One of his coworkers was going away for a few days and needed somebody he could trust to watch over his house.
Okay.
The reason my dad pitched this to me was because the man's house has a big CCTV system, basically a camera in every room, and then an operating desk where all screens could be watched on a big monitor. And I'm a computer science major, so my dad just always assumes that I know how to work anything technological. The man told my dad that he'd pay me $200 for the 2 days just to watch the house. Whatever that meant. My dad drove me to the house and introduced me to the man, whose name doesn't matter. The man made it seem like he preferred I stay in the upstairs room with the monitors as opposed to roaming the house all day. That was fine with me though. So when I wasn't eating, I was mostly just sitting in that room with the TV on in the background and doing schoolwork on my laptop. Ironically, the thing I was doing the least was keeping an eye on the monitors. Night came. I started wondering where in the house I should sleep, since surprisingly we hadn't discussed that. So I sat back down at the desk and looked at all the different rooms on the screens to see which rooms had beds or couches. I noticed something I wasn't expecting to notice though. The back screen door was open downstairs. I didn't remember it being open. I looked through each and every camera screen in a panic. In the living room, a closet door was open. This one I knew wasn't open earlier. I texted my dad to call the man and ask him if he came back home. Meanwhile, I continued watching the screen. On the grainy, dark image, a tall person who resembled only a black shadow on the screen stepped out from the closet.
Hey, bro.
I pulled my arms off the desk as I covered my mouth with my hands in shock. As I did this, however, my left elbow pulled some heavy object from the desk onto the floor, creating a big thud. The person in the image very clearly moved their head up to the ceiling as a response to the noise. They went for the stairs, walking up very, very slowly, step by step. Meanwhile, I got a text back from my dad saying, "No, he's not. I just spoke to him half an hour ago. Why?" I got so caught up in my phone texting my dad to send help that I didn't even pay attention to the monitor.
Oh crap.
There was a knock at the door. I looked at it and then the screens. The first screen I laid my eyes on was the one showing the person outside the door to the room I was in. When I remembered that door had no lock, the only thing I could think to do was jump out the window into the bushes below. I ran halfway down the block and then stopped when my dad called me. I had him call his friend and ask him if he was expecting somebody in the house. The man said he had no relatives or friends who had his key or would ever let themselves into his home. So he called the cops and had them review the footage. I got to watch all of it, and it showed everything. From the moment the intruder broke the glass to the backyard door, to the moment I jumped out the window and him running away shortly after. The intruder was never found. The footage was just too dark to identify his face.
Bro. Scary Ouija board story, guys.
Ever since I can remember, we've always had one of those old vintage Parker Brother Ouija boards sitting in our closet collecting dust. When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was. From the box, it seemed like a horrible board game, until one day I found out what a Ouija board really is, and immediately dug it out of the closet. I insisted on my brother trying it out with me, and eventually got him to play along. We put our hands on the planchette, and I began asking the typical cliche questions like, "Is there anybody there?" and "Can you answer me?" Other than my brother jokingly moving the planchette around to imitate an answer from some kind of entity, there was no real response. After getting bored, we put the game back in the box. I did a little research that night to find out how to make Ouija boards work. Many people said online that the most ideal environment when using a Ouija board is in a dark room only lit by candles. So when my parents weren't home, I managed to gather like 6 or 7 candles and convinced my brother to try it one more time. I lit the candles and set them around the table in the dining room with all the lights out. We tried one more time. I asked again if there was anybody there. The planchette began to move. I told my brother to stop moving it, but he swore he wasn't. I told him to move his hand away, and he did. It kept moving. My brother thought I was messing with him, but I didn't pay attention. The planchette landed on the word yes. I was only 9, so I was legitimately shitting myself. My older brother had to take over. He asked the question, "Are you a good spirit?" There was a 5-second pause before my brother's hand moved along with the planchette to the word no.
No.
We both looked at each other,
Say
and at this
goodbye.
point I ran to my room and shut the door behind me, but he continued on with the so-called game. I heard his muffled voice come from down in the dining room, when all of a sudden I heard him screaming at the top of his lungs. I ran back downstairs to see what was wrong. He was holding up his shirt, revealing a small open wound that almost looked like a claw mark. He told me to set the fireplace immediately, and I obeyed. He threw the thing in the fireplace and told me to never speak of what happened to anybody. We have never used a Ouija
That's why
board
you should never
since.
play Ouija boards. The mysterious girl in my house.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I'm 15.
Alyssa.
A few months ago, something strange happened to me. To this day, I can't explain exactly what happened. I was relaxing at my house, doing some schoolwork on my laptop. Being home alone never bothered me until then. After about 2 hours of being alone, I decided to go get some ice cream from the freezer. As I headed back with ice cream to my room, I heard someone bang on the front door. I never answer the doors, and I always make sure they're locked when my parents leave. I decided it was the mailman, and that he would set the package down and leave. Then I heard the bang again, but louder. I was confused, so I went to my dad's office since it had a window facing the front porch. The second I grabbed the door handle of his office, my parents' bedroom door slammed shut right next to me. I screamed. Our air conditioning was broken at the time, so there was no way it could have been the air. I looked at the door, ran to the other side of the house, and called my mom to see if she was expecting anyone over. "No, Alyssa," she said. And those 2 words made my heart beat faster than it ever has. My phone disconnected, and I started hearing footsteps coming towards me from down the hallway.
Ooh.
I ran and hid behind a door in our living room. I knew I'd be out of sight, since I used to hide there as a child. I called my close friend Emily, who always knew how to calm me
Emily?
down in crazy situations. She told me to go and lock myself in my room. As she was talking, I started to hear doors open and slam shut along with footsteps, and the voice of a little girl saying, "I'm going to find you," over and over.
Hell no.
I started crying, and when the noise stopped, I ran to my bedroom door. When I grabbed the handle and was about to go in, I heard it again. The little girl was in my room and said, "Come here, Alyssa. I want to play. Come here." I
Hell
ran to the
no.
guest
Nobody
bathroom
wants
and
to play
locked
with you.
myself in. I started to hear knocking on the bathroom door and the voice, "Don't you want to play, Alyssa? We could have a lot of fun."
No, she doesn't.
I started screaming back, "Hell no, just leave me alone."
There you go.
She started laughing. The knocking and laughter grew louder and louder. And then it started sounding like that thing, started to walk away, still laughing and knocking. Then I couldn't hear it anymore. My grandpa came into the house yelling, "Alyssa, it's Grandpa. You can come out, you're safe." I ran as fast as I could to my grandpa. Later on, I found out that after my phone cut out on my mom, she sent my grandpa to check on me. Once I told my grandpa that a little girl had gotten into the house, we went around the house searching for her, but we never found anything. All the windows and the doors were locked. The garage was closed up tight, and nothing was broken into. I hate being home alone now, and being in my room. but I've learned to deal.
What the hell? Alright guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. And peace out.